welcome. Thank you for joining me. I'm Robin Singler, and I'm not sure what day it is. It's Sunday in the first week of April, April 5th or something like that, 6th. And I just feel inspired to share some reflections and some thoughts about the whole nature of going through periods of darkness and what seems to come up. So this, of course, is from the perspective of the teachings of A Course in Miracles, of which I've been practicing for a while now. I'm just coming out of an experience of having intense unworthiness and unlovability beliefs coming up into my awareness. And it's all related to what's going on, of course, in my life, and I don't really need to get into the story around that. But it has to do really with my role, what I'm doing. The role I'm playing in this life as Robin is changing. There's been a lot of change, a lot of moving, a lot of having to face things that I haven't really wanted to face. And having to come to terms and be really honest about the masks that I wear, that I have worn, to try to avoid these feelings and these beliefs of unworthiness, of, in other words, not being good enough. Not just about a particular thing. This is a very deep belief. And in A Course in Miracles, Jesus tells us that the self-hatred and this fear of love is really at the core of all suffering, and believing that that we're separate from our source of love that is eternal, believing that we've screwed it up and that love hates us, and that we're separate from this source of love that we truly, really crave deep down inside. And that loss, that belief in loss, and the denial and such that keeps it in place, it's really buried deep, deep in the mind. And it surfaces on occasion, and typically one experiences a knee-jerk reaction just to push it back down as quickly as possible, do something to prevent that from happening, prevent that feeling from coming forward and being really experienced fully. So, anything from just denial, pretending it isn't happening, it's denial. That takes many forms. I used to drink it away. Of course, it didn't make it go away. It just would distract me for a while, and the next morning I'd feel even worse. Just pretending, wearing a series of masks, the professional mask, the intellectual mask, the I'm going to be pretty masks, and I'm going to exercise a lot and diet and stuff so I can be sexy and fuckable, and so nobody will know how absolutely unworthy I feel, and how defective I feel, and what a fraud I feel like, because I don't feel like I'm a genuine being. So coming out of those experiences and letting these masks come off, it's an intense process, as you may know. And when these things come up, as it did with me, pretty intensely, today's Wednesday, so Monday evening, it started to really hit me that I needed to face some things, that I was dragging my feet on stepping forward with my ministry practice, which I've wanted to do for a long, long time, and allowing Spirit, this wisdom in my mind, deep in my mind, that can use me. Been delaying on letting the gifts that I've been given to be used by the Spirit to to speed up my own learning and healing process and help others in the process as well. Of course, all help is for me, all learning and teaching is for me. It's always at the core of it, it's always about what I need to go to the next level in my awakening journey. But the form it takes in my life is this ministry and wanting to be used and really embracing feeling loved. So this unworthiness is a direct block to all of that. It's a direct block to being able to move forward with some of these practical things that are coming up in my life. And since I've moved down to Illinois, and I've moved about a month ago, I settled in, I moved in, I'm getting comfortable, and now it's time for this stuff to get flushed up. So yesterday was a really intense day. Woke up just with horrific feelings of devastation, and not only the unworthiness. So I'm unworthy to be a teacher. I'm unworthy to be a minister. I'm unworthy as a student of A Course in Miracles. I'm unworthy as a woman, as a wife, as a partner, as a friend, as a sister, as a daughter, etc. I'm unworthy on all levels. Very deep belief in unworthiness. And then with it is this unlovability. Because I'm unworthy, I'm unlovable. Because I'm unlovable, I'm unworthy. They go hand in hand. So that's what really came forward for me. It was very intense, very emotional. And I was just in a lot of grief yesterday, just really feeling what that feels like without the alcohol. You know, the alcohol's been gone for 8 years. There's no other drugs to numb it with. Just there's nothing else to distract from. I'm here. I'm in this place. I'm being called to make changes in the mind so I can move forward practically in the world. And it's all part of what I need to do as part of my journey. And having to face this unworthiness. It's a very extreme experience, very crushing. So along with the unworthiness and the unlovable beliefs and having to really look at that and feel it, all this other stuff gets flushed up too. Feeling ashamed, deep shame for having these feelings and for having these beliefs, especially after years of being on this journey with A Course in Miracles. Jesus is so clear in this teaching as to what the answer is. And so there's this shame around, God, it's still here. I'm just now really letting this come over me so strongly and so fully. Shame around that, guilt around that, wanting to judge myself, and then looking to the past and letting past memories and past experiences, circumstances, relationships, events, decisions I've made, etc., going back into the story of my life and finding more reasons to justify this unworthiness with, you did it wrong then, if you would have done it differently, etc. This is a lot of remorse, regret, guilt, on top of this deep unworthiness that is really at the core of all of this. And I want to speak about this because this is something that we all go through. It's not unique to me. There's nothing special about it. It's something that it's, avoided. If we can avoid it, we avoid it, right? I know I have. Because it seems so terrifying. And it seems like something is horrifically wrong with me when this comes up. And this is part of what I wanted to share, because now I've really come out of this. Yesterday started out very emotional, and I just kind of was with it all day. I didn't try to really do much about it except talk about it a lot. I joined with other people on this awakening journey, and I joined with three different groups of people that day and talked about this. And because for one, I couldn't hide it. I was too emotional. There's no way I could try to pretend and put on some kind of a mask. I also know by now that it's pointless to try to do so. It's obvious that something is upsetting me, and it's here to be released. No matter how horrific it feels, it is here for a purpose, and that purpose is actually quite worthy and quite worth the experience of going through that pain and just sitting with it. and not medicating and not getting in the car and trying to drive away from it, even though there I am. You get it. You understand what distraction is. We all have them. So the day unfolded, and by the end of the day, I felt an incredible sense of gratitude and calmness in the sense that, wow, this is a big, big event. This is a mind healing event for me. And while it's not the first time unworthiness has come up, certainly not. It's come up many times in my life. This really feels like this is forgivable now. I can actually look at this and say, no, thank you. I don't need to listen to my ego tell me who I am anymore. And I've looked at this enough now, and I felt the pain of it enough, and I've tried to cover it up enough to know that I need to keep looking at it until it heals. And I don't know when that is, but this feels really big. This feels like a huge opportunity for me to just say no to insisting that I'm right. So in other words, saying yes to love, saying yes to the Holy Spirit, saying yes to the universe that created me, the universe of love, of God, of whatever name you want to place on it. The eternal presence of love that we all share. It's time to just believe that voice instead of the ego voice in the mind that tells me how worthless and pathetic I am. So it feels like a really big shift. And being grateful when this pain comes up is a big part of that. Really feeling grateful, not just saying, oh God, this is great, this sucks, and just kind of dragging myself through it. That I've done that countless times. There's something different about this. This is a new state of willingness and readiness to really say goodbye to the story of I'm Robin, I'm a body, I'm a sinner, I am a piece of crap, I can't be fixed, there's a problem here, and that I don't deserve love. It's time to just say goodbye to that whole story. So the gratitude is really deep, and it helped to really pull me out of the feeling of desperation yesterday. So as I continue to share with people throughout the day and just expose it, nobody tried to fix me. Nobody tried to advise me. Nobody tried to tell me, oh, poor you. There was no, sympathy thrown my way, which is huge. So by the end of the day, I just had a beautiful turnaround in the mind, and I woke up this morning feeling absolutely blessed and really on the other side of a big mind shift here, that I'm so grateful for, that I've asked for, that I've prayed for. Please, when am I going to be willing to let this go? When? And so to have it really feel like an experience rather than some kind of a wish that's pushed off into the future is really beautiful. So I'm really grateful for that. And I was reflecting on that today. This experience coming through this extreme darkness and unworthiness and just feeling absolutely worthless. And then feeling this strength and this power and this trust and this faith and this self-love growing today is really incredible. I was reflecting on that and reflecting on just this whole awakening journey, this whole spiritual path thing that can easily get mucked up into a bunch of psycho story stuff, like pie in the sky kind of. It's, we talk about how simple it is, and some say it's so easy, and yet I don't find it all that easy at times. I really don't. I have not found it easy in the past to look at my unworthiness. Just unabashedly look at it, feel it, and decide to say no to it. Sounds easy maybe, but it's taken me quite a while. So, and it feels good to be honest about that too, but reflecting on that whole cycle that happens, that whole cycle. I'm going along, I can feel something kind of build. There's something in my life that I feel uncomfortable with, I'm afraid of. I kind of push it off a little bit, but the illness, the mental discomfort builds, the inner conflict builds. Maybe there's some body symptoms. I did have headaches coming into this too, like headaches that would not go away. Eating a lot to try to cover it up. I'm trying to distract. I'm watching a lot of YouTube videos and just distracting. And then suddenly it comes up and this emotion comes up and I can't stop it. So there's like this arc, it's like builds and it's like, whoa, and you just kind of careen over the edge and then it clears. And then it clears. That whole kind of life cycle of a healing, the life cycle of a healing is really a trip to look at. And the space of peacefulness today, I was reflecting on how, these upsets come in. We seem to be kind of going along, okay, feeling pretty good. I'm feeling like I'm forgiving. I'm feeling pretty peaceful, pretty safe, things are going well. And then a pebble gets thrown into the water. So if my awareness, my mind is a shallow pool or a deep pool, a pebble gets thrown in and there's some surface ripple effects. But as it hits bottom, deep inside my mind, there's all this sediment and gunk at the bottom there that I haven't wanted to look at. So I don't really go swimming around down there consciously very often, So the pebble gets thrown in, being whatever the trigger is in my life. And it generates all of this sediment. It stirs up all this stuff down at the bottom. And what once was a clear mirror-like water is muddy and it's mucky and there's like a storm of filth and dirt and yuck being tossed up that I have to look at. And it's not clear. And I don't know what I'm seeing, but I know it's ugly and it feels terrible and I don't like it. So that's where the masks come in and the denial and the pushing it away and pretending it isn't happening. Nope, that's not happening. Nope, it's chocolate. It's not sediment. Anything I can do. But, eventually we can't really do that anymore. It's too much effort to keep the mask up. It's just too much effort. It's too taxing. And, I know it's not really going to work anyway. The mask is tiring, right? It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit anymore. So it ends up falling off, right? Or I just take it off consciously. It's like, okay, fine, let's just go into this. So all this stuff gets kicked up along with the initial grievance, along with the initial trigger. And it can take some time for the sediment to for the dust and everything, the dirt that gets kicked up to settle back down again. And I was reflecting today, and the Spirit gave me this symbol of a pebble being thrown into water and it getting kicked up, and then there's some kind of healing that occurs in the mind based on whatever willingness I have to let go of my preconceived beliefs. And then things kind of settle and the water's clear again and I'm feeling better. I'm like, okay, I'm clear. Okay, I am safe. Okay, there is love within me. Okay, there is love in my life. Okay, we're good. Okay, we're okay. And then the next pebble gets thrown in. And then the cycle starts all over again. I was reminded today that that's a very predictable cycle. There's really not a lot of variation to that. There's some variation of, I'm aware that I'm upset, some kind of guilt, some kind of unworthiness, some kind of shame, some kind of something comes up along with it. There's not just the I'm upset at him because of this. There's always something that taps down deeper, and it's about myself. It's about some belief I have about myself. And that's really the symbol of the sediment being kicked up. If it were a very surface pebble or just a light little thing, nothing in the unconscious mind would be kicked up because it wouldn't go deep enough. It would be too shallow. It would be too superficial. So when the pebbles get thrown in and they hit bottom and the deep deep stuff, the unworthiness, the really deep, scary stuff that we don't want to look at gets kicked up, it does eventually settle. There is a clearing of some sort at some point, and then the process starts again, even though the form might be completely different. And so I was reminded that this is very predictable. The same thing happens every time, maybe on varying degrees of difficulty or pain or awareness. But the same thing happens. There's a trigger, I'm upset, I'm feeling something, I ask for help, or maybe I don't ask for help. There's some kind of clearing or a settling, and then the cycle happens all over again. This is what happens with all of us. I was reminded that, if I know that's what happens on this journey, I can prepare myself for that. I can just expect that. I don't have to be surprised when something triggers me into feeling less than, into feeling anything other than peace and love. I can just expect that the sediment of shame, of judging what's happening, the belief that, oh no, I feel this terrible thing and this horrible belief is coming up. Oh no, this is shameful and something terrible has gone wrong. I'm supposed to be on a spiritual journey. I'm supposed to be feeling peaceful. No, 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 no. That's the ego's interpretation. That's the ego jumping on board of the healing process and trying to convince me that something horribly wrong is going on, when in fact, the furthest thing from that is true. Everything is going perfectly. I am supposed to be feeling what I'm feeling. I'm supposed to be letting up the darkness, letting up these beliefs that are ugly, that are sick, that are embarrassing, whatever they might be. That is exactly the journey I'm on. That's the purpose of my life. That's the purpose of a healing journey, is to heal what is sick and wounded. And so when the sick and the wounded comes up, the ego jumps on board and tries to make it a lot worse by ladling on some shame, some guilt, just for having the thoughts, just for having the experience of the healing. So the healing is often shortcut, or it's delayed, or it's whatever it is. It's not fully embraced. And so it has to come back up later another time. So that's okay too, but it delays things. And in the meantime, I'm not happy. I'm still holding on to this sickness, this wound, and it's still infected, and it's still yucky, I'm still not happy. So I really appreciated Spirit helping me out with this today and just reminding me that, this is all part of this beautiful journey. When this thought pattern, whatever might be, for me it's been, unworthiness directed at myself. I need to be depressed. I need to hide. I need to isolate. I need to pretend that I don't feel this way, etc. When this stuff comes up, that's the gift. That is the gift. That is what I've been waiting for, actually. That's what I've been praying for. I've been praying for help. I've been praying to let the darkness come up and be surfaced up into my awareness so I can look at it and choose differently. So I can say, okay, I see this obstacle in my mind. It's here right in front of me. I can feel it. I can hear it talking to me in my mind. It's in my awareness. It's in my full awareness. Now I can ask for help. Now I have a chance of releasing this. Before it came up in my awareness, there was not a chance of it healing because I wasn't aware of it. That's the whole point. And yet, this part of the mind that wants to keep the ego mind in place, this part of the mind that is afraid of love, that is afraid of its own power, that's afraid of God, it's afraid of being rejected, wants to tell me that the healing is wrong and that I should be feeling loving and peaceful and as I'm going through this healing. Well, that's not the case. So it was a beautiful reminder, and I wanted to impart that to you, in case it might be helpful to you. You know, to expect that sediment to come up. Expect that cloudiness in the water. It's going to come up. It has to come up. It won't be the same every time with every single healing. But it's a healing nonetheless. And only Spirit knows. Only the inner wisdom, only the intuition in the mind beneath all the stuff knows what's really going on. So I can just trust that, hey, something's getting churned up here and I don't like the way this feels. So let's hand it over. Let's ask for help in seeing this differently. Let's just sit and be with it. Let's not run. Let's not hide. Let's not pretend. Let's just let it up, let it up, let it up. Lance that wound and bleed it out. And it's gonna clear up. It's gonna clear up. And I don't have to try to clear it up. It will clear up if I get out of the way and just let it occur and let that muddy water be muddy. It will settle. And the sooner I can stop and just admit that I don't know how to fix it, and I don't know how to change my mind, and I don't know how to feel better about myself, the sooner the help will come in and the waters will clear and settle and calm. And then I'll have a calm, clear mind again. So I find that very comforting and helpful to just recognize that this is a journey. It's a journey of chaos, journeying out of chaos into peacefulness, into joy. But the chaos needs to be gone through. It needs to cycle through until I am willing to choose another way. And that's the way of compassion, the way of forgiveness, the way of saying, I'm not going to judge you anymore, Robin. I'm not going to judge you, person that I've been projecting my guilt onto. I'm not going to judge this anymore. I'm not going to judge this life. I'm not going to judge anything about my body anymore. I'm not going to look to my past to either justify my guilt or to justify blaming others for my guilt. I'm going to choose to be neither the victimizer nor the victim. I am just going to be a neutral observer here. I'm going to step back and let my intuition guide this. I'm going to let love guide this. I'm going to let another higher intelligence guide this and guide me through this storm. And the storm always ends, and I always come out the other side having learned something. And this is the journey, and there's nothing going on wrong. There's nothing wrong about it. It's right as rain. It's right as rain. So, yeah, thank you, Spirit, for that insight today. Thank you for the opportunity to share, and just for the experience of clarity. Thank you for the clear, still waters today. It just feels really beautiful, and yeah, and I extend an invitation to you to join with me on this journey, sharing when these things come up, sharing about the journey, talking about it in a safe space where nobody's going to try to fix you or change you or advise you in the world of form, is very, very powerful and helpful. And I highly recommend it. And I'm here. I am here. Here to talk on the phone, on social media, and join in many other ways. So I'll be posting more about that as well. But I'm here. I'm here to have my hand held, to trust in the safety of my brothers and sisters, and to be that trusting brother and sister that can be relied on when the storm comes. And when we join together for this purpose of really going deep into the mind and healing these wounds, we are supported, and support comes through us. Miracles just spontaneously happen. It's beautiful. And it really speeds up this whole process that can seem very slow and laboring a bit torturous at times. So I would love to join with you. Just reach out, put some comments under the video if you'd like, and yeah, just bless you for spending this time with me. Thank you again, Spirit, for your guidance and your gifts of observation and insight today. And I look forward to more miracles. Bye for now.